Life's a game, the world's a stage, and we are merely role players where theatrical people play role-playing games. I'm Matt Boothman, and I've been your compere for this twist-filled Vigil production. I'm joined backstage by most of the cast of that production.
Hello, I'm Ellie. I was playing Peggy Taylor, the Crooked.
Hello, I'm Nat. I was playing Gwynned / Morrigan, the Divine.
Hello, my name is Alexander Pankhurst, and I was playing Graham, the Summoned.
Vicky was also part of this game playing Renko the Flake. She'll be back for another part of this backstage recording, but she's had to run. We thought it was important to get some, very, very fresh reaction, starting with, Alex, what are you playing at?
Sorry. Oh my god! Feel free to say that again, Matt. Sorry, I thought that was
No, I think it's good.
We are full of adrenaline.
Because Matt and I had a plan for what would happen if the apocalypse did eventuate, and then I had a better plan where Graham, who up until this point has been lovely and cheerful and cuddly and misunderstood and very humorous, and for him to just do an absolute mad heel turn and be a big bad guy, and I just quite liked that. Mm-hmm. I quite like that, and then Matt sort of suggested it for this session, which was perfect because it had two of the most suspicious people of my character in it.
Be suspicious.
And I was like, damn, they're suspicious, but they have been the entire time, and rightly so. But yeah, so that's what I've been up to in the background.
Mm. So just as background, it's part of the Summoned playbook. You can go back and listen to Alex's character creation episode from years ago if you want. It's still on the feed. The part of the Summoned playbook is that every time the Summoned spends luck, a sign of the apocalypse happens, and when they spend all of their luck, the apocalypse occurs. And so it gives you this kind of nice writing prompt of what does the apocalypse look like in your setting? You can build it gradually through the signs, or you can have a little chat with your Summoned and decide what it's going to look like.
And because I do love being in and around bins, Matt was like, what about a big fatberg monster? And I was like, sure. Yeah, that sounds perfect.
It was
Yum, 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 yum.
Once we decided, we want this to be the one where he reveals it, I gave Alex a choice of different red herring monsters. Mm-hmm. And I think we liked this one because he can just immediately take that threat off the board by eating it and become the threat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it was very thematically right for Graham because it gives you that idea of, you can trace it back all the way to his first appearance where he's eating stuff out of the bins.
But what blows my mind and what I really enjoyed was the pacing of your failures was perfect.
Yeah.
Right, but I mean for those none of them were stacked.
Nope.
Genuine failed rolls.
Yep.
And obviously the first couple we were stressed out, but also we're kind of getting to that point where we've got luck to spend. But the last the penultimate one was very much what are you doing? But I didn't see it coming. I didn't even think he's trying to push it. So what would you have done if you'd not hit it this episode?
I was thinking about that as we got closer and closer to the deadline because
we had a hard stop.
We had a hard stop today, and I was just in my head being if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen because it can still happen. It would be lovely if it did happen, and I know Matt is in on it as well, so he's going to be driving towards that goal as well. So he's going to be putting pitfalls in my way. So that was the last luck roll. The last point of luck that I used was actually a decision for me because I was how much time have we got left? I do want it to happen now. Can I make? Yes, I can make it a big boom. Okay, we'll do it now.
Yeah.
And it's just waiting for the perfect time to hit the big red button.
Quick time out.
Yeah.
How is everybody feeling about this? Are we okay? This is the reason that I have been checking in before the session about how okay people are with characters getting into conflict with each other.
Because did you know that this was going to...
I knew that this was what Alex wanted to happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll say Alex specifically wanted it to happen in this session with this cast because of these two characters who've been suspicious of him.
Yeah, it makes sense. It totally makes sense.
Vindication.
Story-wise, it absolutely checks out. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm okay. My immediate concern was, oh no, does Matt know this is happening? Has it ruined all his plans? And now I'm I'm sort of sad because I really love Graham as a character, and now he's going to be an evil poohead.
Well,
He always was.
This is just evolution.
But Alex isn't. Alex is
No,
my friend. And he's a nice
exactly.
man.
Yeah.
I am totally okay with this. I will say if I take any harm, I'm
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a case of the other two just go, nope. And Gwynned is gone from the situation, can't do anything.
Yeah.
Or if I...
Yeah, like if this is going to like knock you out to a point where it's like,
So
we don't have you anymore.
the way this is going to work mechanically is Alex has just turned himself into an NPC.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh.
Yeah, using basically, I'm now no longer.
Alex doesn't roll dice
Nope.
anymore. Now that he is a threat instead of a player character, which means he wouldn't be rolling to attack you, you'd be rolling something to get out of it.
I'm also just going to say we have about 15 minutes before I
Yeah.
need to leave the building.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
We don't have to resolve all
No.
of this in this session. He's
No, we're going
allowed
to be on a cliffhanger. For
He's
sure.
Yeah,
allowed
I
to
think
be a
it's a
big
good
bad later.
cliffhanger,
Yeah.
right? It's a really good cliffhanger.
But it'd be good to sort of resolve the immediate situation and just have enough time for a little bit of what the fuckery.
Yeah.
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 I'm fine with Gwyn being completely knocked out or removed from the situation. I'm fine with banish if you wanted to banish her away, but there was a way for
Yeah,
me
you
to
could,
still
like,
come
come
back.
back.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I don't think I. This isn't to harm you. This is you threw me against
Yeah.
the fucking
Yeah.
wall. Have it yourself.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
this isn't I want to.
It's not throwing you at something, it's just throwing you far from here.
Yeah.
I guess.
So I'm throwing you against a wall.
Sure.
For me, this is a nothing. I'm just like
Yeah.
because I want you to.
But I mean, is there a way she could just take no harm from that?
Well, you can spend some luck to reduce harm.
Well, it's going to
That's a
be
good point. Maybe I'll do that.
the question for you, Nat, is what do you do to defend yourself from this? Would you just try and dodge the tentacle, or would you attack back, or how would you avoid harm here?
Right, okay. I think there would be the initial shock, and then as soon as she sees you kind of, oh, I am being a villain, would go to attack, even though she knows she's low health. So, yeah, I can fly down and you can grab me and throw me from there. I'd forgotten I can negate harm with luck, so I can do that, but I'm totally cool with the very cinematic throw you through
it's a
several
great
brick
idea.
walls.
I also wonder if there's lots of things that could happen at once to wrap it up quite quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, you can have Peggy's phone pinging, the family
Yeah.
WhatsApp
Yeah.
group being like, it's sorted and we're sending it to your location, and they drone in the thing.
I've got something for that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Because if that all
That's
happens
our
at
Hail
once,
Mary,
then it kind of... We almost want something that happens that stops either of you from really engaging in combat at this point.
Yeah. But I think since it's been said,
Yeah.
I would like
Yeah.
to play out.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
So yeah, Gwyn, one of Graham's new extra long tentacles reaches up and tries to grab you to fling you. What do you do? I deliberately created a monster that could deal extremely beefy
Yes.
amounts of harm.
On the get-go.
Specifically so that we could do the plausible deniability. Like, it does 6 harm to Graham, and that gives him a good reason to spend luck to avoid it.
I wasn't aware of how much damage it was going to do to me, so that reaction from me was a genuine. Because I knew it was going to do more, but I didn't realise it was going to be that much.
So, we talked beforehand about how we were going to stack the deck, how much he'd need to spend, and there was always the possibility, like, when you level up, you can always take a move, because the summoned has moves that make you spend luck to do other effects.
And also
There was
you've
that
got
option too.
the one of the advanced ones, which if I failed... So one of the last... Because I actually leveled up with my last spending of luck... And one of the advanced playbook rules for the summoned is you turn evil. So that I was like,
There we go. So you did it doubly. I didn't realise that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we stacked the deck as much as we could, but then we did talk beforehand about, like, it will still come down to the dice, and we have to let it come down to the dice, otherwise we're just putting everything on rails. So.
But yeah, the first couple of fails, I was like, oh, good. I've never been playing a game before being like, I kind of want it to go terribly for Graham. Usually you're like, God. And
it meant we still had the unpredictability of, like, it might have gone he might have spent through it all in the first half, and then more of the session would have been actually fighting him.
Yeah.
But I like that it is just the final reveal.
Yeah, because we were like on the cusp of beating the red herring monster, as it turned out. So all those bits where we were strategizing, you two were there like, meh.
This isn't going to matter. But I mean, it's statted up properly. Like, it's got attacks, it's got its harm.
Yeah.
The weakness is real. Like, if you'd used the thing on it, it would have still worked. And then we'd have had to improvise. Like, what does it look like when Graham turns evil and he doesn't have a monster to eat?
He's much smaller.
Yeah. But like becoming, I think you talked about it as being like, I want to be like Ursula.
Yes, that was my mental image, was a much more sort of kind of regal Graham, whereas previously in my mind he's always been thinning hair, just sort of like a little accountant / librarian sort of person, just like bimbling along, not really threatening looking, whereas this Graham is full head of hair. He's looking smart, he's looking dapper, but he is looking very evil.
This is turning into pulling the curtain back, but the point of us doing this recording was like, let's get the live reactions while the adrenaline's still going.
Yeah.
So how are we feeling? Vindicated, betrayed? Like, what's the mix of emotions as it happened?
I think I was very shocked because I didn't see that coming at all. I mean, I knew we were driving towards, and I could see Alex was like, yeah, spend the luck, make the apocalypse happen. But I thought, oh, well, that will happen in the next thing he's in. I thought, even when you were spending that last point of luck, I thought, oh, right, so in a bit, the apocalypse will start, but we'll do that. We'll finish this story first, obviously. And also, I didn't really know what the apocalypse would mean. I thought, what are the rules? We'll have to stop and look at the book, and but obviously, just because in the moment I wasn't like, obviously Alex and Matt have talked about this. Obviously, there's a plan. But I also felt a bit like, as myself, I got a bit like, oh no, he's evil. Because I really enjoy the character of Graham. He's very funny, very affable, fun to play against. And it just was like, oh no, change and the loss of a thing I like, and Peggy's not even had time to build up a rapport. But I was also like, ooh, this is very exciting. Where is this going to go? It was really fun.
Yeah, I had a big grin on my face. Even when you were like, I throw you through a wall, I was like, yeah! Wait, can I just make sure I'm not going to die from this? Yeah!
The bit that got me, that you were like, just so you know, if you do want this to continue, it can continue. However, I do have an out for you in-game if you do want rescuing. And I was like, God love you, Matt, but no.
This is happening.
This is happening.
Can we just pause a sec? I want to check in on something, because if you want this to be the story, that's totally fine. The other alternative I can offer is one of the things that Matt said I can use my luck for is to do big magic without having to do stuff.
Because
so the other option is I can spend a point of luck.
I would like this to play out.
Fine,
I would like this to play out.
The apocalypse is upon us, folks.
Yeah.
I would like this to play out.
We just met Graham and now he's going to die. I don't know what's going to happen.
I'm so glad that it was a surprise, because I was like, they don't seem to have twigged yet.
No, because we're very solution. Well, me and Vicky are very solution focused. So we're just like, how do we win? How do we win the game? How do we beat the things?
And I love that just organically, without any prompting, everyone was like, we'll make Graham the bait. I was like, thank you for putting Graham in the most dangerous position.
Yeah, when they said that, I was like, cool.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, it was the logical thing to do from what was happening within the story, and also the three characters of Renko and Peggy and Gwynned don't really care about Graham in that way. So there's no urge to protect him.
No. It was really, really interesting to be in a kind of openly hostile environment towards your character, especially when your character doesn't have to be like, oh, woe is me. You can just be like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, really, really, really good fun. Really enjoyed that. That was good.
The monologue as well, excellent work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's why I was like very sneakily like plot it while you were doing it.
I saw that and I was like, I'm going to continue. She's doing something silent, so I just need to keep moving, moving.
I wanted it to happen so bad, but I was also like, I don't want this monologue to end and for there to be another action before I get to come back, because I was like, realistically, I don't want to cut across Ellie and Vicky getting a turn, but yes, I've been thrown. Even if I'd been thrown like a mile away, I can instantly teleport back.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to just. If I had the option, I was like, I can come back. That's fine. I want to do this.
Yeah.
I had so many I've seen very, very many manga panels that I had in my head for that moment of like the person who's like two people are fighting and one of them can see something behind the other one that they don't know is coming. And it's like somebody mid-swing, like flying in. Just fantastic. Loved it.
Yeah, lots of dynamic shit occurring, which is great. Yeah, big fan. Big fan.
Yeah, and so, we got a hint in that monologue, but, to dive into why does Graham do this? What does he want now? We'll have to find out another time.
Can we find out, though, about what your original and scrapped plan for the apocalypse was?
Ooh.
I'm going to keep that one close to my chest because there are elements of it I'm still going to use, even though they're not now being triggered. But because there's elements of it that I've seeded already.
Okay, sure.
Because that was the original plan, and as you were starting to spend luck, I was putting stuff in place.
So that's brilliant that I wasn't even aware of that. That's great.
It's a sneaky one. That's storytelling, Matt.
Boozman. Ugh. With his secret plans and clever tricks.
So wily. Like a little fox.
I will be interested to find out, like, at what point did Vicky clock the change of plan when we do our bit with her as well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if she was completely oblivious until the end. I'll be so over the moon. Just
top rank.
The toppest of top ranks.
So it was like, this is the cast that Alex wants to do the reveal for, but let's not forget that Renko knows if you're lying.
Yeah.
For a start.
So when she said that to me, she goes, "I know when you're lying," and I'm like, "Don't worry, I'm not. I wasn't in that instance." But
I was keeping an ear out. I was keeping an ear out for lies.
Constantly being like, "I'm safe. I'm secure. You don't have to worry about me. I'm just a bit goofy." La 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 la. I was like, if she probes me on anything, I am fucked.
Yeah.
And also, like, the hold from her. We'll talk more about this when she's on the recording, but the hold for her beginning of session move. Where she can ask me how stuff ties into the greater plot. Like, if she nails... I mean, and we said this as well beforehand. It's like, if somebody nails you, then we have to reveal it then.
Yes.
If somebody does investigate a mystery and goes, what's being concealed here?
Yeah. The one question we didn't actually ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that. If somebody absolutely pins you down, boxes you in with a question like that, then we have to do it then.
We were just sidetracked by meeting new tailor folk and making a potion and oh my goodness.
Good times.
I mean, I was close with when I first challenged you on it, threw you against the wall. This has you written all over it.
Right.
It did.
Again, it did, but I wasn't going to say nothing. Say nothing.
Yeah, I think that's going to play very nicely on another listen.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm going to listen back and be like, God damn it!
Stupid Ellie!
The signs were all there!
And obviously all of you at home couldn't even see Alex's grinning little face. There were some looks between us that I was like, oh, I hope nobody saw that. But...
I saw some looks, but I assumed that you were in... I think that's why I held that little bit of anxiety around, like, oh... Alex has gone rogue and like done all these spending of lucks, and is Matt ready, or is this forcing him to dump a load of planned stuff and bring forward a load of planned stuff?
I wouldn't do that to Boothman.
I don't mind if you do. I like being surprised and made to.
Yeah, I kept telling myself, no, Matt likes it. There's no right or way wrong. He just always says, just do what you like, and it's fine. So I just thought he was looking at you to be like, oh, is he really going to spend more luck? Okay, I guess so. But you were doing secret conspiracy looks.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm terrible at reading people.
Ellie, at some point, early doors when I was spending luck because I was failing, just went, "Whoa, this could happen this session," and I was like, "I hope it does."
Hello, I'm Vicky. I play Renko the Flake.
We love admin.
Yeah, we got some questions to answer that might give you some more experience, might give you more abilities that you can use to defeat your new nemesis. First of which is, did we conclude the current mystery?
Yes.
We figured out why. Well, we figured out why the trash monster was been a trash monster, and it's no longer a problem to the town.
Exactly, yeah. That's concluding.
Point of order, Matt. As Graham absorbed the trash monster,
did he solve the problem and therefore Graham should get all of the XP? Is that how that? I'm just I don't want
to open that to the floor. You know, what do we
just
think?
Going to put that out there because I wouldn't want anyone feeling like they were cheating.
Oh, but then we did also banish Graham. So within Graham being the monster, gone.
Oh, so you kind of put Graham in he put the monster in a box himself, and then you put Graham in another box and banish the box.
Yeah,
I see. Very clever.
Much like multiple boxes containment system.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like when you have a really smelly cheese at Christmas and you have to put it inside 3 Tupperware.
Yeah, exactly.
This is what they did wrong with the Raiders of the Lost Ark warehouse, is they just had everything in one box. There should have been multiple nested boxes going on.
Yeah.
Yes, I think we concluded the current mystery. We obviously sort of kicked off another one at the end there. Did we save someone from certain death or worse?
Yeah, them cleaning...
The rats?
The cleaning losers.
Yeah.
And the cleaning losers.
Yes!
Twice,
actually.
Graham did one time. Actually, Graham did 2 times, which is surprisingly, now we know, kind of ironic.
Both times saved them in not a very heroic way.
Yeah.
But they are, as aforementioned, losers, so it seemed appropriate.
But yes, they were definitely heading into certain death, and you definitely averted that twice by messing with their various forms of transport in various different ways. So that's 2 ticks. Did we learn anything new and important about the world?
Graham was wrong and all along.
That might be the next question. So let's tackle those 2. Did we learn something new and important about the world? Did we learn something new and important about one of the hunters?
I mean, in terms of the world, we learned more about the Taylor family and their operations, and also about how the sort of good luck charms, like the effect that can come from throwing them away a lot. So that seems like an important thing to know.
Yeah, and we kind of know that alchemy is a thing in the setting now, which isn't something we've really touched on, but certainly the Taylors seem to be into that.
Yeah, also vampires.
Also vampires.
Yes!
Yeah,
I've forgotten about Vampire Val.
What? How? How could
Hashtag
you?
never forget. Never forget, sorry.
Yeah.
I think just in about how I guess I wasn't in the last season, so seeing how the magic is manifesting and people, previously mundane people, are using magic now. Sort of, for me, this was the first time that I was exploring that. I don't know how much, because we recorded this before Tailor Made came out, so I don't know how much you explored that in Tailor Made, but that was sort of a discovery for me.
Yeah, in Tailor Made, Adrienne was definitely already like, I accept that magic is real and I'm panicking about it, and is sort of in a similar situation in this one. Everybody else, like, we didn't see a lot of the effect on the town in Tailor Made because we were all focused on one house and everything took place in there. So yeah, a lot of that stuff about how are people coping, that was new info in this one.
I mean, I guess it connects to the next question, which I think is about characters, but we learned a lot about the system of praying to the goddess.
Oh yeah.
And how that works in this world, and sort of how, you know, taking the name in vain, but also the functioning aspect of the cauldron with the steam rising off of it and how the messages are received. And that was all kind of a new admin adjacent system that I was very excited to find out about the workings of.
Mm-hmm.
That was awesome. I really enjoyed that imagery of how that all works.
And then from the roleplay perspective, I was enjoying as well the sort of just the thought of even just saying mother with the intent of it being to the higher power mother rather than your biological mother would sort of ping something, and making that itchy. That was that was entertaining for me. I don't know if I leaned into it as much. I'll have to see when we listen back. I probably missed some opportunities to be like about it, but yeah, it was fun.
I mean, I'm satisfied that we learned new and important things about the world and about at least one of the hunters. Mm-hmm. We learned some stuff about, you know, how Gwynn's deal works now, and obviously we learned some significant things about Graham.
Mm-hmm.
Quite significant.
Which means we've got four ticks, which means 2 XP each.
Ooh. I've leveled up again.
I leveled up in the game through one.
What?
one sweet failure because I had 2 already as a hangover from a previous one. So I'm now at 2 again for the next.
I mean, it feels like the sort of adventure that ought to have changed and devolved people.
Yeah, I'm
or that
wondering
people,
about
people would adapt to.
I'm wondering about one of my stats. I'm really reluctant to upgrade tough, my -1. I just lean so hard into if I'm going to fight, it's going to go badly for me. I might make my weird go up by 1,
Ooh.
It's 0
more
at
spells.
the moment. Yeah.
Thematically, that works.
Like the level of exposure that Renko is now experiencing. I did try some magic in Ori already on the basis of like something that Percy had taught Renko to do as like a protective, like you're fundamentally mundane, you don't really have any innate magical ability, but you should be able to learn to do this kind of thing. So maybe in this new world, Renko is like, I need to go to training, and the training I'm going to do is magical.
I was debating between upping my weird, because I've not done that yet, and it feels like at this point I should be better at magic given everything. But
You really should.
Yeah, right? But the other option is smite, wherein my body and my weapon always count as a weakness against the monsters that I fight.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty good.
So
Who
both
needs to
feel
find out
very
the weakness?
thematic.
We'll just let Gwynned solo them.
Yeah, I'll just go and smack them. So both feel thematic.
Oh, I like that. Yes.
So I think the enthusiasm for smiting. We've got other people who are good at magic. I can let them do it. That's what the Hearth Mother and the Forest Hag are for. I am the smitey one.
You're only like a couple of failures away from being able to up your magical ability anyway, right? So
Yeah, exactly. And we know how much I love failures. It happens all the time.
You were very... I can't remember how much of it ended up on tape, but at the beginning of the session, you were talking up your... like, how terrible your dice rolls always are quite heavily, and then ended up having a pretty good session.
I did. I had a pretty good run
overall.
of it. Well, all of the bad luck was conveniently taken by Mr. Betrayer, because he needed it to pull off his heist, so...
If the roll
Losing for the win
for you, Alex, that could have been a different outcome, right? Like you spent luck a couple of times, and then to reduce harm. But for the most part, you were cranking. I think you had to fail like 3 times or something in addition to the harm removal in order to be able to do it. So
yeah. I think I also
not in your favor.
I had the ace in the hole of Matt being a co-conspirator, so he would have just kept flunging shit at me, literally in some instances, just to get me to not. And this, for the listeners, that's not him throwing his own feces. That's obviously the sewage monster that we were fighting. He's not done that yet in a recording, but
It's always good to have independent confirmation of that because in an audio medium, the audience can never know.
Never know. Secretly, Matt's just flinging his poo. But then you'd be called Matt Poodman, and no one needs that. No one needs that.
Absolutely nobody. But yes, I built the monster with some ridiculous attacks purely for the purpose of hitting Graham with them and giving him a plausible excuse to spend all his luck on avoiding them.
Mm-hmm. And Matt, what would have happened if I ended up having to spend all of my luck to avoid being... Because that thing hit hard and I was pretty much on the verge of death. Did you have a plan for that?
If you'd spend all of it, your rules would be normal. So if you spend all of your luck, you become doomed.
Yeah, I've completely forgotten what happens in the case of the Divine for that.
It's not playbook specific. Just everybody's rule for when you run out of luck and you are doomed. It just means basically in situations where I would normally say something like the monster winds up a bony fist and is about to punch you in the face. What do you do to defend yourself? I can just be like, the monster winds up a bony fist and punches you in the face. You take 2 harm.
Mm-hmm.
So I can just start like giving you consequences without giving you a chance to get out of them.
Sure.
Not always harm, but like just bad stuff. Just to represent that your luck has completely run out.
And stressful.
Yeah.
useful. Yeah.
How do you get your luck points back? I think there's a mechanic, but I can't remember what it is. You have to spend XP, don't you?
Some playbooks have a regain 1 or 2 luck as an advancement option. I think all of them, but I'm not 100% sure. But I don't think you can never reset all of it.
I have one opportunity to do it once in my advanced improvements. Yeah.
But it's sort of the idea is like at that point in a campaign, once people are starting to get through all of their luck and are getting into the, like, you're sort of dueling in Monster of the Week your luck track and your advancement track. Because in theory, the only ways for a character's story to end are they die because their luck ran out and they can't avoid harm anymore, or you use the retire to safety advancement option. And technically, we broke the rules when we allowed Percy to go back to her own time without spending an advancement to do it. That's the sort of thing, if you were playing strictly, you would need to use the retire to safety advancement to write your character out in that way. But it felt right at the moment, so we didn't admin
Story
it.
Trump's admin.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say I had made myself aware of that element of the admin, or I would have felt more conflicted about it. But I can narratively justify it in my head in that she didn't retire to a place of safety. She's in danger territory, just in the past.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Ellie Pitkin, never knowingly cheating.
Yeah. That is accurate.
We have the opportunity to play like where you've ended up.
Parallel Victorian
past,
Britain.
1800s.
Yeah,
we could do a spin-off.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just the past, but it's a different fork of the timeline now.
Yeah.
There's one last bit of admin to do before we get into just general we've done plenty of general freeform discussion of the session already, but Vicky, you still have some points to spend on your connect the dots, and you also spent luck, which means that you get to do lots and lots of drawing conclusions and connecting 2 dots and
AKA make Matt's life very difficult.
Tying string between your pins on your conspiracy board.
Okay, so let's take the things that I think in character like Renko would actually want to know about. Given that we resolved the mystery as is, there wasn't anything. It did connect to a kind of like wider, like a wider problem, but it's not a conspiracy in terms of like somebody isn't like pulling strings behind the scenes to like have made the thing that happened in the session happen. But the situation with Graham, I think Renko would have questions about and would be thinking about. So I think that's where I quite like to focus. So when I spend a point of luck, I pick an aspect of the current situation and the keeper will tell me what other conspiracies that aspect connects to. And then obviously if I had been spending a token in the situation, if it hadn't been right at the climax at the end, which would have been a bad time to ask it, I could have been asking like when and where will the next critical event occur? And that might be something along the lines of like, how is Graham going to come back from his presumably temporary banishment, and like what should we be doing to like be prepared for that? So I feel like we could kind of like package those into like one question, which is, okay, Graham is like the apocalypse is nigh. We have temporarily banished Graham, but that can't be end game. So there must be something else.
The like when and where will the next important event occur? The metagame answer to that is just like next time Alex is in a recording session. I guess.
Absolutely.
So it's a difficult one to answer in the fiction because it will just come down to our scheduling. Just to give everybody a glimpse into how this story comes together a lot of the time. Unless, Alex, you've got any thoughts that you want to, that Renko would have put together in her head about what Graham's plans might be.
Like, does the apocalypse, manifest itself in ways other than just Graham being a big bad threat? Like, does it change anything about how things will continue regardless of whether or not he is a near and present danger?
I don't think so. In my head, the way I'd worked it is that the apocalypse is Graham. So wherever Graham is, that is. I suppose I fudged it a little bit in terms of going, I don't want the whole world to be coming to an end, but the apocalyptic event is the fact that Graham is actually a very bad man.
Not a man.
And
it's kind of like
sorry.
I think I remember you describing it to me as like it's apocalyptic for the group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they've all been duped.
Nothing else is going to happen. There's not going to be like plagues or other stuff that I'm just throwing at you from afar. It's more going to be a case of, as Matt said, whenever I'm back.
We bought ourselves some time, essentially.
Yeah. Whenever Graham decides to grace you with his presence, he'll appear, and that'll be a problem for you. But it's not like there's going to be further issues.
In terms of other ways that it could tie into other things, because this is part of the point of this move. Is it's not just about Vicky spends a point of luck and gets to say, "Show me the GM notes."
Yeah,
it's not just about like tell me the conspiratorial things you already had planned. It is also like I would like this to be a wider conspiracy, please, in future sessions of the story. So. If, Vicky, you want to use your incredible luck powers to say, actually, there is something else behind this, even if Alex hadn't planned that, you kind of are allowed to do that if you want.
I mean, I quite like the idea that Renko is obsessed with the fact that there must be, right? Mm-hmm. I don't, like, maybe we don't know whether there is or not, but I just feel like it is in keeping with Renko's character to be like, women didn't just, like, decide to do this by happenstance, like, and we just got unlucky, and that's how it worked out, right?
I'll tell you the thing that I would guess in Renko's head that she would be going like, this cannot possibly just be a coincidence, is Graham hails from the Inferno, and the leader, king, CEO, whatever of the Inferno is the devil. And you've also just met somebody who sold her soul to the devil. It's like, the devil seems to be getting mentioned a lot.
Mm. It's in Renko's nature to draw those connections and then pursue them, even if it turns out to be a dead end, because she's looking for the higher meaning of, like, whatever is happening. So it would never be enough to just be like, had this demon in our midst this whole time. I was totally suspicious this whole time. He did turn out to be the big bad I assumed he would be all along. And then that's it. Like, oh, that just happened by complete chance. Like, it just feels like, well, how did he get here? Who's benefiting? Like, is someone using this to their advantage? How is that playing into some kind of bigger threat that we should be conscious of?
This is the most Renko thing I've ever heard, is like, I've been proved right. But there must be something else.
There must be something else. Exactly. I think that's
can't
it. Like,
just take the win.
I think that's it. Like, that's how Renko is motivated to just continue to be on the job and, like, on duty all of the time. Is she's going, I was right about that, and that must mean a whole lot of other stuff. And so she's just always looking for the next thing. And so I feel like there would be a part of Renko that's like, oh, so we'll be meeting the devil eventually then, I guess.
What I love further about that is the fact that in my head, Graham just did this on a whim. There is no bigger picture here, but he's just caused more chaos than even he'd really anticipated, which is just like, he's delighted with him little self. So happy.
Graham just did this on a lark, and it's going to cause Renko to declare war on the devil.
Yeah.
Wasn't even the devil's fault, but it's still... the stepping stones are there.
I could just imagine Satan sitting there being like, whoa, don't bring me into this. I have nothing to do with this. I usually announce when my little hoof marks are all over something, but not this one. No.
Yeah, like, I can't
and
be held
Renko just being
for the actions of one bad apple.
Renko being, no, I've connected 2 dots. You can't tell me you're not responsible.
So wider conspiracy or not, something that has presumably happened or will happen, is that Ginny will realise that she's been the victim of a con, because she's been in a romantic relationship with Graham, and she was the one who summoned him when the Endless Night tried to summon a really bad demon, and she thought, oh, my lovely Graham is lovely, so I'll bring him instead. So this has been a really long con on Graham's part, presumably. And Ginny's like everyone's favourite grandma who's been taken advantage of.
Yeah, I feel like once Ginny and Renko get their heads together on this, it's just gonna...
Yeah.
And Gwynn's also been in the boat of like ultimate suspicion. I don't think this checks out at all. So yeah, we've got a few people who are going to feel like a personal stake in A, dealing with the problem, and B, maybe like seeing a kind of bigger problem at play.
So just out of game, and you can edit this out if you want, Matt, but Josh has already confided in me and said that as a result of Graham, quote unquote, losing two of the party, she's basically gone get to fuck and disowned him. So she already hates Graham.
Imagine
she's
how
already
angry
dumped
she's
Graham
going to be after she listens to this latest series.
I know.
She is going to be vindicated. She's going to be vindicated.
This sort of ties in slightly to one of my wishes, which was that honestly, I wouldn't change the way things went down, because I think the builder scenes was great. The pace was great. I do wish that I'd had the opportunity to chat with Graham before things had got really tense really quickly, because in my head I was like, right, because Gwynned is also mad about that, but would have had that conversation about like, what were you doing? What were you thinking? How could you lose them? And because Josh and I had already spoken about the fact that we probably would have like had a quick chat of like, okay, Ginny's going to Fairyland to have a look around and that kind of thing. Because I wasn't sure if Josh would have mentioned in Tailor Made the fact that Ginny was like, no, out of here. But I was like ready to kind of drop it in as a no wonder Ginny left you kind of moment in there as well. But yeah, so I can't wait to hear Josh's reaction when he listens.
Yeah, there's a lot of reactions I can't wait for.
Yeah, the WhatsApp's going to be absolutely popping off, isn't it? I've not said anything to Dave, by the way.
Oh, cool.
Good. I mean, he's probably 8 seasons behind on listening anyway.
Yeah, he's not going to listen.
He'll be like, "Who's Graham?"
WhatsApp will kick off, and then I will inform him.
One thing we did speak about, Matt, was that you had a couple of different options for. But you always have options for what I roll for Boss from Beyond at the very game, and whether it goes well or badly. So I rolled middlingly, so they asked me to do something quite tough, which was to promises that this is not the apocalypse, which I have failed to do, but also to stop the trash monster, which I to be fair, we did, not directly, but did. But what were the other, like, what was the terrible thing that they were going to ask me to do?
Yeah. So if you got the simple, if you'd fully succeeded and they only asked you for something simple, it would have been all of these magical and monstrous things are happening and we're aware of them now, so please tell us what to do. Like, basically teach us the old ways and teach us how to ward our homes and teach us the little charms we can use to keep the piskies away and that kind of thing. Which would have been a nice thing for Morrigan to be able to do, like educate and help people protect themselves, very Shieldmaiden-y. And then the total failure condition would have been like, the tailors have been selling us all of these trinkets and they keep like, they work for a week and then they stop working. So we think they're bad. Please run them out of town.
Great.
It's what I try and go for with the total fail on Boss from Beyond is stuff that is going to either very, very morally challenge Gwyn or bring her into conflict with another player character.
Yes. All that delicious stuff.
Yeah.
How would Peggy
I think you lucked out. I think you got the best one.
I think so, yeah. I feel like Peggy wouldn't have been the most mad. Maybe Grandma. Can't be messing with Granny, but the rest of them...
She can't move twice in a year.
That's true.
It would have put us in conflict with what we needed to. Like, I think that's worked in the past as well, hasn't it? It's like you've had a mission that sets you on a slightly opposite path to the thing we might need to do to solve the actual wider mystery problem. So then you're in this, like, you're living through this conflict in a turmoil of like, well, do I do the thing that I have to do because of this role at the beginning, or do I do the thing that will help us to resolve the situation in the game? And then that would have put you in tension with multiple of us instead of just Peggy.
how mad would Peggy have been if that was my mission? My mission was to get rid of her, chase her family out of town.
I think that would have been an inevitable shift of focus for Peggy. I think she would have been more angry and concerned about that than about the acidic rubbish monster, because the Taylors have been in town since the town existed.
That's true, they are the town.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a mob family mentality where I'm like, oh, I kind of hate my family, but also will fight to the death for my family. So I think there would have been a lot of side fights.
This family made you. You'd be nowhere without this family. You'd be no one.
Exactly. Also, the Fae community would have been quite divided, I imagine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's, I guess kind of in Gwynn's interests to have them around, even if they are a pain in the backside.
Yeah, I think they bring a lot of benefits to the Fae community that sort of, in a way, is like you being able to subcontract keeping the inhabitants of the local area happy. Well, we haven't heard directly how Vicky, the player, sort of felt about Alex's big reveal and when she clocked that it was... Because, I mean, as a sort of summary, Nat and I were very shocked and didn't see it coming. And I think you were there maybe when I briefly had to be like, Alex is my friend and he's a nice person, because I sometimes find it hard to distinguish between reality and fiction. But how did it hit you, Vicky?
Well, obviously, I was much closer to Alex's end of the table, so I could see how bad things were getting very, very quickly. I don't think I didn't know what it meant for Alex to have spent all of the luck, right? So that was still, like, some of what happened still felt like a surprise, but there was a point, I think when you spent the last two so close together,
yeah,
where I was like, oh, he's being very cavalier about this. Like, this is just like, every time there's a failure, every time there's harm, Alex is just like, spend. Like, to have spent, I think it was like 4 of 7?
Yeah.
In one game, I was like, we're ramping up to something. And when we got to like one left, I was like, how is this going to go? Like, is Alex just going to be like, oh, we're teetering now on the precipice? Or is he actually like, oh, I'm intending to go headfirst into whatever this means? So yeah, once you'd spent the last one, I was like, oh, something big is now going down. I don't think it would have been helpful for me to have noticed earlier, though, because it wasn't anything I could do about it, because obviously the voices were all in Alex's hands anyway. And as we were saying, like, you know, was somewhat dependent on how badly you were rolling, which was terribly. So it worked really well for you.
Very helpful rolls in terms of me just failing on my arse.
Yeah, twice quite early on as well, right? You must have been like absolutely rubbing your hands, like, and one of them then resulted in massive harm, and you were like, "Oh, I guess I'll use a luck to clear that harm." Gleeful amounts.
I was just like, "Yes, good."
How happy you were about it. So kudos to you, because that would have given you away faster.
Yeah, sorry. I think that was one of the things I was worried about. I was like, I knew what I needed to do, what I wanted to do, but I didn't want to give it away. So there's exactly like that. You're just like, how do you react when I was like, oh no, I'm getting hurt.
I feel like that first instance of huge harm transitioning into comedy helped. The fact that it was like, Graham's getting hit with like old sofas and fridge freezers, and he might die. He spent luck. And any suspicion people might have had about the luck spend immediately pushed to one side by all the comedy of Graham being stuck in a freezer.
Yeah. But also it kind of made sense, because it's like, this is pretty substantial damage for early in the game to be taken, right? Like, so I was like, oh, this kind of checks out. But I feel like, yeah, I usually have quite a good radar for like Alex gleefully enjoying something he probably shouldn't, and I didn't pick up on it at all. So you did a really good job to really good acting skills. It's almost like you're a professional.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, the thoughtfulness with which you considered each spend of luck was very. Even I was convinced, and I was in on it.
Yeah, it was very convincing.
And I want to give a star to the whole. Not just the whole kind of plan of it, but specifically your villain monologues at the end.
Oh, Beautiful.
The
very
various, the transformation villain monologue, and then like the individual ones like to Renko. And I liked the treatment of Peggy. Just like put her out of harm's way and be like, remember that I helped you here, which is very demonic, to be destroying everything, but then to be a little bit fickle about it, making pacts, making deals.
It did make me also think that like there was, I guess, if we follow that like infernal connecting of the dots, like maybe there was something where Graham had like the hotline from the devil was like, you can do what you want. There is one condition, and that is don't do harm to this person because I own their soul. So whatever,
That
else you carte blanche.
It's beautiful. That wasn't planned, but it makes total sense.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, lovely bit of retconning there in terms of like, let's join that dot because that works lovely. No, I saved Peggy purely on the basis that I had no beef with her whatsoever. I didn't know much about her. She hadn't been very rude to me. So I was like, fair enough.
Yeah, that makes
I mean,
total
I
sense.
did call you disgusting quite a lot, but maybe you see that as a compliment.
He's into that, isn't he? He's just,
I mean, that's nothing I haven't heard multiple times, both in character and out, Ellie.
Yeah, I've at least had the decency not to retch for the extended period that Peggy was retching at Graham over you, Alex. So you're welcome.
Thank you.
Conversely, one of my stars is the payback for throwing Graham into a wall and you just yeeting Gwyn away. It was great. Like, obviously, it was a very like, oh my god, what is happening? But also, I had a massive grin on my face the entire time. It was great.
I totally agree with that, and it's like that for me was the moment where I was like, oh, this is a shift, right? Like this is that's. Especially when you described it, Alex, as being like, oh, it's just pure retribution. Like, it's just, you did this to me earlier and now I'm going to do it to you and it's going to be worse. So then I had that feeling of like, when your attention then turned on me, I was a bit like, I'm such a weak human. Like, I just had that real moment of like, and he's just talking and maybe that will be enough, but like, I maybe should think of something I could do. And I was like, I really don't think there is. Like, I was like, Renko can't think her way out of this problem, and that is like her main skill is thinking and allying with others. And I was on my own, and it wasn't a thinkable like resolution problem. So like a Deus Ex Machina, Gwynned can banish a demon move was the only card on the table. So it played out. That played out just so like right for how like it felt so true to like the characters in the world for Renko to be like, well, can't save myself this time. I have to just accept my fate.
I feel like it
caught me monologuing.
Yeah, it plays as Renko keeping him talking as like maybe the only thing she could think to do. It's just like as long as he's talking, right? He's not murdering me. Yeah. And maybe something will happen.
Be quiet, no smart mouth right now, no telling people what to do right now, not helpful. Yeah, I think it was a great ending. It really was. Yeah. Well constructed. Felt like it felt very true to the characters. Sets up some really good stuff for future games. So yeah, stars all round really.
In terms of stars, just to everyone reacting in the moment was lovely to watch. And I don't have any wishes. My wish was to make Graham bad, and it came true. So I've got no other sort of moment where I'm like, oh, that could have gone better. I'm like, no, that was. I'm very happy with how it went. So no stars or wishes from me. Oh, no wishes. Plenty of stars from the people who had to react to me like yeeting people through walls. But yeah, good times.
I have a unrelated to the ending wish, which is purely because I didn't get a chance to use one of my moves, which is the sight, which I've taken from the spooky playbook. And that's really very much about me, Ellie, wanting to talk to ghosts.
Yeah, it came into play, didn't it? Like you could see that the wind was magical, for example. That was the sight in play. But yes, actually finding a ghost or a spirit that you can actually chat to and get information from. Yeah, we got to get that in next session, definitely.
Yeah, I think I've got to get used to asking.
Yeah. It was
well, I mean, you did this time. I think there were a couple of occasions where you said, "Is there anything around? How can we make this work?" Just wasn't working in the moment, but we'll do it.
I think one of my other wishes is, I kind of have two that are sort of, again, that they're fine. It doesn't really make that much of a difference. I would have loved to have had a little longer to chat with Peggy. But again, by the time, just because of naturally where everyone started, by the time we all collected, it was sort of like the ball was well and truly rolling. So actually getting to know Peggy a little bit more would have been nice. But also similarly, I was not intending Gwynned to come in so intense from the beginning. But again, it was like immediately people were in trouble. So that main part of her brain, like she doesn't have a whole lot of it. And most of it is very quickly turned into mode. So, especially now.
I think a lot of the story that we're telling here is about those like conflicting priorities, right? Gwyn has this like Gwyn's personal top priority is where the fuck is Cam and how do we make sure that he's back and safe?
Jess, let's be clear, and Jess. I failed her too.
Yeah. But you have all of these new followers who are here, who are whispering in your ear and needing things and wanting things and in danger, who are taking you away from that. And I feel like everyone's got their individual version of that. And it's always like everybody's got their own lives. No, apart from people like Gwyn who are like, you know, in a divine duty, it's not any of these characters' job to defend this town from monsters. It's just, you know, they're trying to live their lives and this stuff just keeps happening and they're the only ones who can really be in a position to deal with it. So that kind of conflicting priorities I feel like is very thematic. But also we do want, in all of these sessions, balancing the time that we've got to get those nice like character moments and conversations and people getting to know each other. I think that's a definite, I'll echo that wish that I just want everybody to have more moments with Peggy to like really tie her in. I think she's still got that little bit of like cynicism and I don't really care, I'm not really part of this, so we need to drag her into the world.
Well, you can try. I mean, the slow intro is partly because that's just her character. She's a lone wolf and she's usually just getting to know people by running cons on them, so the idea that there'd be some genuine friendship engendered at some point, I think, would take a while.
Mm-hmm. Look, we've managed it sort of with Harper, so we'll manage it with Peggy as well.
And here's a Peggy-related wish. The thing we didn't get time to record on the day was I wish to find out Peggy's answer to Vampire Vel's offer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that something, Ellie, that you want to tackle as like first thing we do next time you play, or is that something you want to tell us now what goes on?
I haven't given it enough thought to work it out now. I think I'd need a conversation with you, Matt, before I officially make a decision.
And it is something I'd want to tackle it as a scene in roleplay rather than just something we do in backstage.
Definitely. I mean, any excuse to have a chat with Val. Yeah, I think it's really interesting, and I think that it's a real contender as a decision where Peggy would be like, yeah, okay, let's just do that.
That was my final star, was Vampire Val and the Crimson Gift.
Yes. Oh god, the Crimson Gift. Oh. That sounds like such the title of like some badly written like fanfic of a vampire show as well, doesn't it? It's visceral stuff.
It's also very reminiscent of like when insert well-known period product brand here started doing like the Auntie Flo's here ad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like Auntie Flo's arrived, got a little present for you. That's exactly what it felt like.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's interesting because it was a little bit like the Vampire Val stuff doesn't really have any bearing on everything else that was going on this season. It is just this kind of slightly out of place scene. But I think it does, because Peggy's the character that we know the least about at this point. Mm-hmm. It's nice that she had her own little like B plot that she was off doing before she got dragged into the rest of the stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, we have to honour those luck spends. You spent luck in TaylorMade, so Vampire Val had to turn up this time.
I know, and I've got another one on the books for you to throw at me next time.
I mean, we've already covered one other luck spend because we've revealed that Jack Mangrove, the Tory councillor, was Larry Groveby all along.
Yeah.
Didn't get a chance to actually confront him, but at least you burst all his tyres.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something that's going to come up again.
Yeah, and we can decide next time where, like, you definitely clocked him, but whether he clocked you or not.
I love that, like, in the grand scheme of everything else going on, that's going to be Peggy's focus. She broke through Jack Mangrove's tires.
Well, what are everybody's priorities for, what's topmost in all of these characters' minds for the near future?
I mean, doubling down on the charms and the warding rituals, but making sure they actually are proper working ones this time. Continuing the hunt for the lost hunters.
Yeah,
well.
it's like I mean, Gwynned said her priorities out loud at the end of the session. Like, we got to get everybody.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. If we're going to take down a demon, I mean, as we said, like, Renko is fantastic at thinking her way through and charming, and the same with Peggy. And there's some members of the hunting team that are great at figuring out the problem, and there are some of us who are good at smacking things. And we've just lost one of the people who are great at smacking things, and now we've got to smack him. So we need Cam back because he's good at smacking things, and we need Jess back because she's good at figuring out like the threads and the connections to the spooky side, and figuring out like weaknesses and chatting to all her contacts and stuff. So, and
I enjoy that because it's like this shows the contrast between Gwyn and the aspect that she replaced, right? Because this is the Morrigan is going onto a war footing. The war chieftain going onto a war footing would have looked a certain way, and Gwyn on a war footing looks like we need to get our friends, like we need to gather the circle, we need to circle the wagons and get all our people.
The coven.
Yes.
I think for Renko, it's some of what we talked about earlier, which is she's always looking for the next big problem to arise, and so she's looking at that and going, it's like, I feel like it's a similar theme to Gwyn. It's just Gwyn's instinct is we need to gather the troops, which is absolutely an accurate, like, and correct thing to be focused on. But I feel like for Renko, it's more like, how prepared can we be? Like, how can we know what's going to happen and when, what's being planned, who's involved? Doubling down on like research, and as I said earlier, I think the reason that I've bumped my weird stat up is because I think also she'd be like, I'd be more useful if I can do some more stuff, because there's a different bad that I'm having to tackle here, and it's beyond my skill set. So I think that's she's preparing herself for the worst, because that's always what she's doing.
Yeah, it's like Gwyn's gathering the firepower and Renko's making sure that you're actually pointing it at the right place.
Yeah.
I feel like that's Renko's instinct, is like, it's no good fighting Graham if he's not the actual power behind the throne here, right? If there's something else at the centre of the web, that's what we should be attacking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What about Peggy? Does Peggy give a shit?
Not about those things, no. I think she's going to have it in the back of her mind that Graham has said that she owes him now. So that plus the deal with the devil is on the concerns list. And the third thing on the concerns list is making more money. So probably looking for ways to set up a magical artifact trade without giving away, my location, and like making more enemies. I'm trying to avoid making more enemies. The whole point is I'm trying to lie low, and I seem to have gained a new potential enemy or frenemy in Graham. But my concerns are individual, not for the group.
I think Graham's main focus now is choosing the best moment to come in and just cause more fuckery. I think that's all that Graham now cares about, is just choosing the worst time for the group to appear and be like, "Hi guys, have you thought about squids recently?" And that's it. That's yeah. I don't think
Sherrydown is a non-coastal town. Not big.
Graham might want to change that.
At what point, Graham at some point is going to make us all regret the decision we made in Fear Itself to decide collectively that his oils are flammable and he can basically create napalm.
Oh no.
Whose idea was that?
It was useful at the time.
I think it was a Starkey idea mainly.
Of course it was.
Probably.
Of course it was Cameron. Oh, of course it was. Like, nothing Renko or Gwyn would ever do would be like, oh, how can we make Graham more dangerous?
Yeah, no.
It would have just gone against even if it would have helped us in the current moment, we'd have gone, oh, I don't think that's a good idea. Yeah. Just playing to type perfectly, I think that is brilliant.
Well, look out for those wishes in future productions. Look out for Graham. Or look out for Alex joining me in a co-keeper's chair effectively next time that he's in one of these productions, because you don't roll dice anymore now that you're bad.
Does that make me your little Alex Horn? Am I your little Alex Horn to your Greg Davies?
Oh, I'm going to have to start coming up with some introductions for you if that's the case.
Yeah, Smackdowns.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then you've got to do little bits that don't really make a lot of sense, Alex. That's your brief.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And sit on a smaller chair.
Can do.
That if I'm the taskmaster, that lends a different bent to like the admin at the start of this backstage. Like that's the scoring. Everybody gets 5 points.
Hey.
The task didn't matter.
Never ever be allowed with Ed Campbell on this one.
Well, enjoy Taskmaster, who don't sponsor us, but maybe they should, and keep listening to Merely Role Players to find out where all of this goes next. Thank you all very much for joining. Thank you for playing, and I'm looking forward to playing with you all again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
This has been Vigil, a main house production from Merely Role Players. It stars Ellie Pitkin as Peggy Taylor, Natalie Winter as Gwynned, Alexander Pankhurst as Graham, and Vicky as Renko, with Ellen Gould as Jess Butterworth. I'm Matt Boothman and I play the supporting cast. Editing and sound design are by me, and the theme music is by Alexander Pankhurst. We were playing Monster of the Week, a role-playing game by Michael Sands, published by Evil Hat Productions. You can find Monster of the Week at genericgames.co.nz. Merely Role Players is a Foggy Outline production in association with Blackshaw Theatre Company. Until next time, if drama be the food of life, play on. Foggy Outline. Undivide your world.